Bob Arum rips Eddie Hearn over his continued push to make Chavez Jr. versus Danny Jacobs. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang. Please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Sign up for ESPN Plus below using my link. It definitely helps the channel. And we got to talk about Bob Arum. He talked to reporters after he had a very good card, top ranked card, and that was to close his year, last real big fights. And Bob Arum had some choice words for Eddie Hearn. This is what he said. Eddie Hearn is in a strong position in the UK where the fans really buy tickets, but he's falling on his ass in the United States because he doesn't understand the market and says stupid things. And what he's doing now with Chavez Jr., putting himself at risk with the Nevada State Athletic Commission, is senseless. Any promoter who tries to put on a fight with a fighter who is suspended by a commission in the United States should have his license taken away and not be allowed to promote. If we don't respect the laws and we don't respect the Muhammad Ali Act, then we have nothing. I don't care where the guy comes from. His excuse may be that he's from out of the country, but he knows, or he should know, the rules. You don't take a fighter who is suspended by a commission, then take him to another commission or anywhere else to get licensed. You just don't do that, or otherwise you destroy the sport. Once a fight is announced, the Nevada State Athletic Commission has jurisdiction to test a fighter. A lot of fighters take PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, and then clear their system by the time of the press conference. So if you wait until the press conference, you will miss that they took PEDs. The Nevada State Athletic Commission sent a VADA agent to Chavez camp at the wild card. The guy waited all day. Chavez refused to test. Now that's grounds for suspension, and that's what the commission did. What Eddie Hearn is trying to do by going around the Nevada Commission and taking it to the Arizona Commission, which is a violation of federal law, trying to get him licensed, is a disgrace, and everyone who cares about boxing should step up and let their voice be heard. He doesn't understand the laws of the United States. He is totally in disregard. He is a guy who has operated under the British Boxing Board of Control, BBBOC, which is not a government agency. It's an organization set up by the promoters, and they have different rules and standards, unlike the ones in the United States, which are government agencies. If you notice, in Arizona, they have not licensed the fight or licensed Chavez. They are holding back because Chavez Jr. has another hearing on December 18th, 2 days before the fight. I don't think when push comes to shove that Arizona will defy the Muhammad Ali Act. DAZN has not been successful in the United States. They have not gotten any traction to speak of. With all of the millions that they've spent on their boxing in the US, except for one guy, and that's Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has done tremendous numbers. The people who run DAZN above Eddie Hearn, they are not boxing people. And what does that tell them? That Canelo gets all of the subscribers that DAZN has, so they have to go out and get Hispanics, prominent Hispanics that move the needle. And and I know that Chavez has disgraced himself before, that he fought Canelo and didn't throw a single punch, that most people in boxing see him as a joke. You know that, and I know that, but he speaks Spanish, so let's get him for Daniel Jacobs. Bob Arum with the ether. Almost thought you would come with the ether. Bro, Bob Arum, how many times do I have to tell Eddie Hearn he doesn't know America? Bro, Eddie Hearn is becoming the laughing stock in American boxing. It's looking real bad, bro. And on that note, I ain't even gonna say nothing because I've perpetually said the same thing with Eddie Hearn. All this getting Dillian White on cards before, UCAD came back and that's not the American way. So it's good luck to Eddie Hearn trying to get this fight done. And he must be sweating bullets days before the fight. And Chavez Jr. and the Arizona Commission, Nevada Commission, and there's all types of legal stuff going on behind the scenes. It's just not a place you want to be in as a promoter. Instead of being able to focus on ticket sales and, you know, sound check and whatever else you got to prepare for the event, the final press conference, you have to worry about if Chavez Jr. can get licensed because of what he did and failed to do the VADA test. Once again, Bob Arum is a very smart individual. He is a law graduate, Harvard, and he's telling you the same thing that I've said. He's been in the industry since Muhammad Ali days. You know, rest in peace to Muhammad Ali. This is an extremely bad look for Eddie Hearn to try to circumvent and or go around. It's like you ask your mom if you can spend the night at your friend's house. She tells you a direct answer, says no, and then you wait for her to leave, and then you ask your dad, and your dad, you know, he had a long day at work. He's not tripping. So he says you can spend the night. By the time your mom gets home, she finds out what you did. You went around her and asked your dad, who, unbeknownst to him, you had already gotten a verdict and an answer from your mom. You know, so this is going to create turmoil, and that's what you see. This is fight week for Danny Jacobs versus Chavez. There's been very little push and promotional effort to promote this fight, probably because of all this stuff, the underlying circumstance, because we don't even know if the fight's going to preclude. You don't know if it's going to happen. So all the people that bought tickets, you should be worried because Chavez Jr. is not in the clear for this fight. And if they allow this fight, like Bob Arum saying, people should voice their opinion. If they allow this fight, then that means they're kind of going around the Ali Act, which was put in place to protect fighters and, you know, try to an attempt to make this everything uniform. You're not supposed to be able to fail a commission test and resent it, and you still want to push for the fight, so you put it in another location. Look at Canelo versus Triple G. He failed a drug test, clenbuterol. He has an excuse why he failed a drug test, right? And I know Chavez Jr. didn't fail a drug test, but they look at it as a failed test. It just looks bad if you failed multiple drug tests in the past, too, and you refuse to take a test. So they deem it as you don't get no passes for not taking the test altogether. Like, oh, hey, I refuse the needle. I'm not pissing in no cup. You get what I'm saying? That's going to make you look equally as bad. Go do that to a job. If you need employment, say you want to get a job at Home Depot, and they say, hey, we need you to go to this lab and, you know, take a drug test. And you say, no, hire me anyway. It's not going to work like that if they have drug protocol in place. The moment you announce and book venues and stuff in somebody else's state, you are now, you know, privy. They are now able to test you as part of their programming. It's just what it is. So Bob Arum is 1,000% right. Eddie Hearn, you know, it's looking like the American takeover is looking pretty bad right now. We'll see how this plays out. To my understanding, from what I've read and stuff, Chavez Jr. has more hearings, and his legal team's trying to fight it, saying they didn't have jurisdiction to test him, which is false, because it's explicitly written that once you book a venue and announce your fight, and it's you know, assumed that this is going on for this date and everything's in place, once you solicit them and inform and involve Nevada, it's all open season. Let me know what you guys think. Bad luck for Eddie Hearn. Again, this is not the UK or Saudi Arabia where you could just been in these rules in place that have been in place for everybody else. Because, like, you look at this. A fight I was looking forward to was Demetrius Andrade versus Billy Joe Saunders in Boston. Billy Joe there was technically a technicality where Billy Joe Saunders, the drug was banned in America altogether, but in the UK where he trains, it was only banned, you know, in competition. Out of competition, you could use this whatever stimulant or whatever, because they have different rules. So that was a fight I was looking forward to. How come Eddie Hearn didn't that's a much better fight than Danny Jacobs versus Chavez. So how come Billy Joe Saunders versus Andrade have never fought to this day? How come they didn't just move it from Boston and then put the fight in Vegas to keep the fight? Because that's not how it works. Once it's publicized that you have been banned in one commission, Usually, I don't know Arizona if they're going to do something different, but usually it is nobody wants to touch that. Why would any commission want that blood on their hands? It makes no sense. So if Danny Jacobs gets seriously hurt, a guy who's beat cancer and stuff, and then it comes to find out, you know, Chavez Jr. failed a post-fight drug test or something, then your commission approved that. You will get sued for sure. You know, and I mean, Jacobs is going to want to have that loss overturned to a no contest. I'm just saying hypothetical. I'm not saying he would lose because he's definitely the favorite to beat Chavez. I'm just saying who wants that on their watch, the potential for that, you know? Oh, we let him go even though this looks fishy, and he got banned from fighting in California and he was suspended in Nevada. Neither one of those commissions wanted to touch it, but we'll accept it. Then now you accept all the problems and the responsibilities that go with it in the event that this is a complete disaster. Let me know what you guys think. I agree with Bob Arum. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next videos, Egos, I know. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.